Yeah, well, there is a huge difference between the liberals because a liberal or social fascist. Anyways, if you want to talk about what's the difference between a liberal and a leftist, I can really delve into this topic. The
Well,
idea that Kamala Harris is a communist is a bunker idea that for actual leftists, we wish that Kamala Harris was an actual communist. She's not. She's just a typical neoliberal. Anyways, that's an entire different story.
well, you probably attacked me because I'm a Trump supporter.
You're a
To be
Trump
honest,
supporter?
I'm a Trump supporter.
A lot of people be
Okay.
So we're
So,
supposed to. What
Go
I don't
ahead.
understand is how a lot of people basically, I mean, these never Trumpers, they are voting based on hate and not really based on policies or substance. They're voting
Yeah.
strictly because they dislike a person, and they'll say, like, I was speaking with my aunt today, and she used to be a minister. I mean, she was very popular. She traveled the world. She's been to Russia and everything, right? Um, and we were talking, and she told me how she volunteered uh for Kamala Harris. She even wrote her a letter, et cetera, et cetera. And she's very passionate about this. And one of the things she believes, like my stepdad as well, is that Donald Trump is so evil and that he would destroy the US if he would be elected. And they harp on this January 6th thing.
Oh gosh.
It is exactly right. And so some of the things I would tell them is, well, we didn't have a problem when they practically burned down Minneapolis and,
Exactly.
Harris set up a bail fund to bail them out. That was okay. And, they were like, okay with that, or, you know, we're okay with, our country being flooded with illegal immigrants and our tax dollars are paying the bill to, basically buy the next election and voters. And, they were okay with that because it's better than putting this evil man back in charge. And it's there's really no rhyme or reason. It's almost like they're brainwashing society to vote for hatred. As long as they keep saying that he's evil, evil, evil. People are voting based on emotion and not necessarily on policies.
Here's the thing. Okay, so my whole thing about Trump is it doesn't matter who's in charge. The people in behind, they're really in charge. The Project 2025, for example, that's still going to happen because even if he tries to distance himself away from it, every single person under him, like Judy Vance, all those people, all work on Project 2025 in order to make it upfront. So, American Foundation is really there's kind of different think tanks are tied to the Conservative Party, and every single policies of what these think tanks want gets implemented. And of course, as it has happened, you have trickle down economics, which literally destroying America. Now, the Biden party is trying to minimize the impact. Now with Tim Walz, things might get interesting. However, the whole thing about abortion, the conservatives are the ones who wants to make sure that under no circumstances women can have. My point is that I don't care what you guys say. What I care is what the legislation say when you guys actually pass the laws. And I know that I have some crazies like Jeff Durbin, the Calvinist, who's advocating the death penalty on those who perform abortions. We also do know that in Texas, you're sending bounty hunters on the people who's doing the abortion. We also do know that people who's getting not allowing to receive medical care for miscarriages because it's considered to be an abortion. There's countless example where conservatives passing laws was literally screwing up the lives and removing the freedom of women.
Well, there was so much to say to that one. I will tell you that. There was a lot there. I don't know if I buy 99.9% of what you said. However, what I will say is we have a lot of problems due to Biden and the VP policies. I know she likes to run away from her record now that she's running for the presidency. It's funny how in this country, and I can say this because I work in HR, but it's funny how in this country, when you mess up, you get promoted instead of get the boot, and then the people that really do the work, they stay in those positions because they're the competent people. Now, and that's true, and everybody knows it. And she, as the VP, she did nothing to protect the borders, even though that was her job. She wanted open borders. She didn't want to prosecute anybody. We got a city in Ohio right now that is overpopulated with Haitians that are and causing everything from car insurance and homeowner insurance to go up because they're running into people's houses, wrecking people's cars because they can't drive, et cetera, et cetera. The government is footing bills for food stamps and welfare and homes and stuff on the back of taxpayers. We're talking about giving even more tax break in an economy that's already stretched too thin. We're still having supply chain issues. We're still having people that, since COVID, still won't go back. Already over exhausted in what am I thinking? Supplies, but a shortage of supply chain routes. We have truck drivers that are boycotting. We have companies that are completely went out of business and shipped their jobs over to India, to Puerto Rico, and Taiwan. And you know what really kills me, and this is from a whole international policy standpoint, one of the things that Biden ran on is that he was going to give people breaks so they would keep American jobs here, that he was going to increase American jobs. And they inflated these numbers so much so to make it look good that we have all these jobs. But in fact, what happened was after COVID, a lot of people didn't go back to work. They stopped looking for work and they went out of work. And it was much cheaper for them to stay at home and only one person work. Why? Because the price of childcare went up. The price of grocery went up. The price of gas went up. The price of utilities went up. So what I will say is that we can't have 4 more years of the Biden-Harris policies because our economy will not survive it.
Well, we are the one who causing it. Capitalism is literally the thing is causing
Agenda 47 that he keeps talking about. In my opinion, it's not like 2025. It's not as radical as 2025. I've read it. So I think anybody, if you haven't read it, you should go look at it. I agree with pretty much everything in it. So there you go. It talks about justice reform. It talks about the homeless issues we're having in the cities. It talks about illegal immigration. It talks about the foreign policies. I don't know any conservative person that would have a problem with this. 2025, it was a nightmare. Nobody really was for it. It was for the extreme conservative. Now, as far as abortion, I'm going to just put it at rest. I am extremely pro-life. However, it has went back to the states. It is, every state is voting for it. It is not going to be a Trump thing. Trump has took it out of his hands. The Supreme Court has already voted on it. It is with the states. Each state will vote on it accordingly. That is where it's at. Trump has already said it. So I don't know why everybody's putting it back in Trump's hand. He's not managing it at this point. So the issues are what they are. So if you haven't read Agenda 47, go read it. And it is not like 2025, in my opinion.
What would help the poorest of the poor the most?
Okay, unions,
Meaning those
living wage.
those who cannot work?
Those who cannot work, how about free housing, free food, and nationalized health care?
Yeah, but how do you pay for that?
Okay. U.S. is really easy. Cut military budget. You use that budget to fund actual things.
Where's
things
that money
benefit
come
the poor
from?
and the needy.
Where's that money come from?
I literally just said cut the military budget.
The military. Hold on. I gotta do this. I'm former military. All right. I know how much I make.
I'm against it.
I know how much
I'm
I make
against the U.S. military
compared to everybody else that was working my same job. All right, because we had civilians that were working my same job, and I was making probably about 20% of what they were making. So if you cut the military budget, so now you're going to have to give those military men pay cuts,
or they stop being the military.
What?
Simple.
What?
I'm against the U.S. military. I want the U.S. military to be out of China, out of Europe. I want out of everywhere across the globe.